Welcome back to the Real AF TV podcast, show by Fish and Random Takes. This is the random take. And we are going to get into something that I just didn't foresee when we started the podcast.
Yeah.
My wife reads like crazy. And we talked a lot about physical media on one episode. I forgot to look up what episode that was, but if you go in the backlog, there is an entire episode where we just talked about physical media in general. And of course I was like, physical media is dead, but like we still have we like it. We like having tactile things.
Yeah.
Now I'm not completely invested in the physical media, but I have been reading, which I fucking have hated my whole life. I basically failed every book. And I didn't fail it, but I got really bad grades on book reports. My entire life. Yeah, you too.
Dude. 100%.
Being assigned a reading assignment was like my fucking worst thing in school.
I hated it. Like we had an English class in college where like that's the whole thing was like read a book and then come back and like let's just discuss what you read. And I was just like, I hate this so much. This is so dumb. I hated it.
It was just the college equivalent of book club.
Oh, for sure. And it wasn't, and it was like, what are we doing? Why is this a necessary thing? Why do I have to read a book and then come in and tell you how I think about it? And then like I have to listen to other people's opinions on it. Like, why is this something that costs thousands of dollars? This is so goddamn stupid. I could not stand that class. I didn't like the teacher. This is a random side note, but like that syllabus was more of a teacher than the teacher was. And she came in like, hey, I normally teach at the University of Minnesota, but I'm doing a favor. Like, oh my God, you're so fucking special. And like, let's talk about how you like what kind of books we should read and stuff. Right. I can't believe I got to pay you people for this shit. But just like, I hate it. And now to this day, like, what good did that ever do anybody? Why? What did that get any of us? You know, like some people say, like, where am I ever going to use this math? Where are you ever going to read a book and then have to report back to people about how you felt about what you read?
Oh, I can tell you where. In your book club, when you go to happy hour on a Thursday.
Yeah, I suppose.
That's it.
Yeah.
It's the only fucking place.
You're paying us for social skills that you already have. Well, some people maybe not.
I was going to say that some of you have for sure. Yeah, right.
If you're
yes, we were very much like
not trying to shit on everybody if like you don't have social skills and that helps you out. Because if you're just into reading books and that's your thing, maybe you're not that good with people.
Yeah,
but
that's not a far stretch.
That was not my thing. I didn't need to read a book to come in to be like, did you guys hear about this new book? I could just come in and we could talk about whatever. Life. Right. What'd you do this week? What did I do? Not read a book.
That's read a fucking book. Yes, and I say that as somebody who's married to a book nerd of like, yeah, like she'll back that up. Like, yeah.
And I'm not shitting on books either.
Being a book, no, yeah, for sure.
I was gonna say I should preface
like that aren't like you're not shitting on the people that live in their books either.
Right.
You're just pointing out like this is an observation, and she would totally back that up. Of like,
the fact that you're saying
being in a book is easier than being in social life. And it does make you socially awkward sometimes.
And the fact that you're saying I have to read a book and tell you how I felt about the book, that's the craziness about it. But reading a book is totally, it makes sense to me. Getting lost in the story, being able to imagine it on your own, that's cool. I just prefer like somebody telling the story to me with pictures. But
which is a movie.
Like, but when it comes,
clear, like that's just a movie.
And it's the same thing with learning. It's just that sometimes the best option you have is reading a book. You know, like when it comes to like when you're talking about video, when it comes to the I forget exactly what they were called right now, but like the Bass Pro Shops put out the Bassmasters like DVDs, or it was a TV show at one point, and they would like explain to them like how they're fishing, and then they had different segments and stuff on there. I loved watching that stuff because I loved learning. But when that wasn't always an option, the next best thing you got is the books. And reading about fishing isn't the best, but I still did it because I learned so much from it. So books definitely give you a lot out there. But now with Audible, like if I can get an audio tape, that's what I'm going for. But sometimes that backfires too, and then you got them reading all the weird ass shit in the book, word for word. There's a fishing book that I listened to.
Okay.
That was on the fishing, side of things, but there was a narrator talking about it, and he would just be like, for this, they'd be talking to a pro fisherman, and the fisherman would say like, for this, I like to use a Strike King thumper worm, and I would cast that and reel it over. The thumper worm can be found at www.
Oh no!
And he'd read the whole thing.
Oh no!
/HTTP. Like the whole.
Oh no!
And it was just like, are you kidding me? You're really reading the fucking links?
The hyperlink?
Just like, what?
Because that's what the script said. Because that's what the book probably said.
Yeah. So it was that
they
book.
Just couldn't.
Oh, there's no dude, and I wonder if I'm sure they had to sit down and they're like, people aren't gonna like this, and then the company that had their hand in it was just like, you read the fucking links.
You read the book. You publish the book. You read the fucking book.
You put the links out there so these old dumb fucks that can't use Google can type in exactly what you say every dot and slash, and you get them to the right website. When a pro says that he uses the thumper worm, you get them to the website so they can buy the thumper worm. You understand me? Oh
shit.
Yeah.
So yeah, that sounds like an older one. But so now that we'll get into my shit, because I've been reading, but like not for education, really. A little bit.
Oh yeah.
Anyways, I mean, you're making a point about education, but I do want to talk about audiobooks now that you brought it up, because we're on Audible now. Like the Real AF TV podcast is on Audible if you're on Audible.
Hell yeah.
But do you subscribe or do you buy audiobooks? Because I had a little audiobook phase, and I have more about audiobooks too. But
I did the whole like subscribe deal, and Audible gives you credits. And so I had credits like I was doing like a monthly subscription, and I had credits just like piling up.
Oh,
and, like I just
so almost like you don't lose it, right?
Yeah, basically. So I have like 12 or 13 credits different. Still yet.
Dude, that's even different than Amazon's fucking music.
So that's my thing, where like I have a bunch of credits right now and I don't even know what to do with them currently. Like I haven't looked into what kind of book. I just really haven't had the time. Like I have enough entertainment and enough thing to hold my focus, and when I have time where I just want to listen to stuff, I have so many different options already that I don't even know what to go with for a lot of audiobooks until I hear about something. And then as soon as I hear about it, I go, oh, damn. And then I go buy that, and then I listen to that. So,
okay.
Yeah.
Kick ass.
Yep. Yeah, for sure.
Because I never thought about that, but being married to a book nerd, I had listened to, and maybe this is something you'll do too, well, once you run out of Audible credits, but it's not a great selection for probably what you're looking for, but like the public library has a digital version of the public library, and you can rent out audiobooks.
Yeah.
Like you can rent them to your phone. So it'll take a download, right? Essentially. And then it'll check it out. So
dude,
it's pretty cool.
That sounds dope. I was going to say, I'll be completely honest. Like I wasn't even thinking about the library until like 2 weeks ago. Where like, so like my son,
that's another reason why I had to bring this up, because the fucking library is dope, dude. They have movies and shit there.
I know, it's crazy. And then like
another reason for this topic. Maybe that'll change the topic. I'll change the topic header too. Library's fucking dope, dude.
Yeah. Well then, and we're talking about what we're reading and stuff. Honestly, I was telling you like before we got on here, like really the only thing I'm reading right now is Pokemon, because I'm playing the new Pokemon game. But the other thing that I didn't think about until like we started, doing this just now, was that I do read kids' books.
Yeah.
And that's the one thing that I didn't think about for the library. They had like an open house because my son starts school next year. So they had like an open house in the school that he'll be attending. So we were just like looking around and stuff. And they had the library in there, and I wasn't even thinking about it. And the lady was just like, yeah, my son, he's like always into like the books and stuff. And like, we don't want to buy all of them. So we just rent them. Like they always have the newest books. I was just like, I didn't even think about it. I'm buying all the books. Like I'm wasting money buying all these books that we read through. And then we just move on to the next one, because we're like, we already read that one.
Right.
Like that makes so much sense.
And I get to the age where it's just like, yeah, we read that one. Like 3 fucking times, Dad. Come on.
And you feel stupid when they say that, and you go, of course you could just rent a book and then bring it back and get a different one.
Right.
I didn't even think about it. I don't know.
I know, because the age of renting anything is gone, except for when it's that temporary spur of the moment. Like, I'm renting this movie. I'm going to watch it tonight. I want to watch it now.
Yeah.
And it's that movie.
Oh, that's the biggest thing, is I want to watch it now.
Right. And so you don't think about that with the books, right? Because you only, you read it before you go to bed. So it's like an hour of your day, but you have to think about it at like just after nap time, just before nap time.
Right. Yeah, dude. It's crazy.
Yeah.
It's weird shit.
It's kick ass.
For sure. For sure it is. And it's just weird that it's like never crossed my mind. It's like, oh, of course. It's exactly what a library is for.
Right.
And I don't have to buy it. I don't know why. Something about it like always makes me feel like I should buy it. But like that's definitely like just have like an afternoon or even an evening to just bring him there.
Yeah.
And just be like, hey dude, like this week, like what kind of books are we looking to like read for bedtime?
Right.
Like pick them out. Which ones look good?
Right.
What do you want? You go to the store and you're looking at them, because you look at the book and you flip it over and you're like, oh shit,
that just happened to us.
Yeah.
That just happened to us.
It's crazy.
There was a sweet Valentine's Day book at Target, and I was like, okay, it's the only one, Target exclusive. Here you guys go. You guys look it over. Of course. Kid's like, oh, yay, new book. Flips through it, whatever. Hand it to the wife. She does a little more in-depth research.
Yeah.
She reads a little bit while we're walking around the store. And then she's like, yeah, it's okay. And then I was like, okay, I'll scan it and see if it's on the Target Circle app. What? Did you see the fucking price of that thing?
Yeah, right.
And it was like
$22.99. Right. Is that what this says?
That's a $1 a page, man. I'm not into that.
Yeah, right. It's a big book. You're like, what is going on here? $22.99. How many people are getting paid off of this thing?
Yeah, dude. It was crazy. And so what I'm reading is I had a similar thing happen to me, where there was this Nat Geo that kept coming up, where the magazines are at the checkout.
Yeah.
Those like one-off single edition, like this is the Princess Diana 20th anniversary life magazine. It's those like limited edition prints. So we kept walking up to every time we went to a checkout, it's just like every checkout, I swear to God, it was fucking there. And it was a Nat Geo Pirates edition. And I'm into pirates. I've just like kind of got a thing for like, it's not like one of my things, if you want to say it, but like I've always had a super big interest in pirates and just like the culture and like what it really was, like what is the real history of it, because Pirates of the Caribbean makes it this crazy thing. And,
right.
that's a different thing. I just like the idea of sailing around and like, you know, fucking checking ships and taking shit. It's like, what is going on there? Nat Geo, and it's like $20.
Okay.
It's like $19.99 for this magazine on the news rack. I'm like, God damn it. I really want to read this. That's a real pirate ship, real recreation of a pirate ship on the front. I opened it up. I know it's like, it starts in like the fucking 1400s or something. No, it starts with like Egypt and shit. It goes way back.
Okay.
And like pirating on the Mediterranean back in the day, you know?
Yep.
And I was like, God, I want to read this thing. I really do.
Yeah.
And then it just goes out. It falls off, you know, you go there 4 weeks in a row, it's there. And then you go on the fifth week and it's gone. And I was like, I'm going to check. There's got to be piles of these things somewhere that someone's grabbing. I'm going to go on eBay. Bam, snatch it off eBay for half price.
Nice.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, dude. So I just started reading that casually, just like, yeah, I got it. Cool. Just put a bookmark in it and I just read it casually. And it's just one of those things that I was like, I actually kind of pursued reading for the first time in ever.
Nice. Yeah. You're thirsty for knowledge.
Yeah, exactly. And it's sort of started. I mean, the whole reason is, are thirsty for knowledge. So you put it. So I just was like into it. But when we talked about physical media, we talked a lot about magazines too. And I was just like, yeah, magazines are fucking cool. Like, I kind of want this. I kind of want to turn pages in a magazine. And I tried to find it digitally. I tried to go to the library. I tried all of those steps.
Yeah.
Fail. Like, it was nowhere. It was like, I couldn't fucking find it. So that happened. And I'm currently reading that. Then I decided I had this book. I'll call it right now. I had this book sitting on my desk, on my work desk for, oh God, I don't know. It was a long time. Almost 5 years, I'll say. And I can say that because I got it. Like, I can equate it to a big event in my life, right?
Okay.
It was The Last of Us graphic novel. Graphic novels count for reading, right?
Yeah, dude. Fuck yeah. Reading is reading.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what I think too.
Yeah. I mean, if people get to say I read your book when they listen to it on Audible, then actually reading a graphic novel is like
counts.
Real reading. It's got to count. It's real reading. I think it counts more than listening to a book on Audible, but people still consider that reading a book. So
right. Hell yeah. So yeah,
I consider it reading books. That's
yeah, because that's actually like what I've been more leaning on. So I think I completed my nerd trifecta now. My geek trifecta is like, I have technology and I have video games and now I have comic books.
Nice.
I kind of started getting into it. Here's the thing. In the first half, if you weren't there and you're only finding this on Friday, if you weren't there for this part, then you're going to miss out. But like, you started talking about the collectibles and the Pringles and shit like that.
Yep.
Okay. So I kicked off my like reading as of recently with the Last of Us American Dream. I actually had a physical copy of it and it was like sitting on my desk for like 5 years.
Okay.
And I finally said, I'm going to fucking read it. This was prior to HBO. This was just before The Last of Us Part 2. I said, I'm going to read this thing and then play The Last of Us Part 2. You know, like I was kind of timing it all out and I finally just dedicated myself to reading it. And it sort of kicked off this graphic novel kick that I'm on. I don't know if it's a kick. I don't know if I'm going to keep doing it. But it kicked it off. And then I had written down I listened to a podcast and it was called Concrete Jungle. And this is where I'm getting into the collectible thing that we were talking about in the first half, or that we got into with the first half.
Okay.
So there's this graphic novel. It was called Concrete Jungle. And I read it, and then it was good. It had a really good suspenseful ending. I try to buy all of them in one because, like, comics can come out as like every week, and then all of a sudden there's 12 of them, and you can just get 12 of them in one graphic novel.
Oh, I was not aware.
It's kind of like that. It's not always like that, but it's sort of like, you can read it in 12 small parts, or you can wait and you can get it all at once, kind of like TV in a way.
Yeah.
So this is a thing that happens, and I try to get them all in one. I don't know what happened. I don't know if it was like, I just want to try this out because the preview was okay, but I'm willing to spend $8. So I get it on Google Play. Like I get the not physical edition of this one.
Sure.
And then like 2 weeks ago, I'm like, I'm going to buy part 2 because I think this is just 2-part series. And I can't fucking find it anywhere. Like, what the fuck is going on here? And I'm totally pissed off about it. Goddamn NFTs.
Oh. Gross.
They fucking went NFT. So you have to buy in to their NFT to get the copies now. They shut them down from Google. I can still get my copy because I bought it, right? So Google still keeps it live. But like, I can't get version 2 because they cut them off from Google. They fucking went the NFT route, dude. Digital collectibles. I'm okay giving them $8 for my copy. But now you're making me buy a fucking NFT for it?
Yeah.
What am I going to do with that fucking NFT? Nothing.
Can you... I mean, I don't know. Are you... Do you sell it then after that? Like, I'm done reading it. Now I'll sell it to you at a discount?
Right. Who wants to buy the NFT for this comic? Like,
yeah.
I don't know how successful this comic was. But generally speaking, it's not a huge comic. It's not being made into an anime or anything like that.
Right.
It doesn't have an already successful video game franchise backing it. Like,
sure.
And they're just like, buy our NFT. Look, I'm not against you making some money.
Yeah.
Like, you're really just going to make me buy this digital collectible.
Right. Yeah.
This digital currency, whatever.
I'm not against anybody like making an NFT, but like just have it be an NFT. To have it be like you must buy the NFT to get the second part of the story.
Right.
It's like, that seems like dog shit. Like, what do you mean?
Right. That's the part that bothers me too. Right. Because again, if you're selling an NFT to fund whatever the NFT is, like I've heard that Mila Kunis and Ashton Kutcher have a cartoon that when you buy the cartoon, it's an NFT or some shit like that.
Okay.
And like, that's how they funded the cartoon. And I'm like, okay, they got that cartoon made because like each one is an NFT or something like that. It's like, okay. Maybe I'm misinterpreting that a little bit. I think that might be a little bit weird.
Yeah, dude. There's that whole world is confusing to me, man.
It is pretty confusing. But yes, you're right. Dude. Like, this wasn't an NFT, and now all of a sudden they put it behind an NFT wall.
Have you...
It's fucked up. I didn't like it.
Random side note. Have you ever heard of the podcast that's like, the commercial is the most confusing shit I've ever heard?
Yes, I think I have.
Where the NFT is like the show, and they're like, oh no, it's like the NFT is like what talks to you, and you're like, what are you talking about?
Yes, I have heard that.
Yes. Yeah. Does that make any sense to you? I can't even repeat it. It's so confusing. I can't tell you what I heard.
It was part of this. It was actually part of how I started to get on the path of like cryptos and NFTs are kind of scammy and pyramid schemey, and like that commercial actually motivated me to do more research, because I'm just like, this sounds like complete bullshit.
exactly what I thought, except for I didn't like put in the time and energy to actually like look into it. I'm like, I literally like all I thought to do was like, I'm putting this in my back pocket to ask people about. But I'm still so confused about it is that I don't even know what to say when I ask people.
Right. Yeah,
Like,
and that's actually that's a perfect example of this, like, or that's total tie back to this thing is like you took it down off of places that seem to have, you know, a pretty good future ahead of them, Google and other, you know, they seem to be like they're going to be around for a little while.
Sure.
And you took it down off of that to hide it behind an NFT paywall. So I'm buying an NFT, and then as a prize for getting the NFT, I get the the art that you're actually selling. Like, I just couldn't wrap my head around it, because the comic books were a reward for buying the NFT.
Okay, right.
That's the method you decided to go with of income? Like, ooh.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Did I say Concrete Jungle? Because I meant Concrete Park. I hope I've been saying Concrete Park. It doesn't matter. I'm not going to edit it. It doesn't fucking matter. Concrete Jungle is just a general term for a city. So,
right.
But either way, the comic is
that all ties back together in my head randomly when you're talking about the Concrete Jungle and stuff. And all I could think of, like, when I was talking to other people about that NFT podcast, was John Mulaney has a joke where if he was a Def Jam comic back in the day, he'd rip Home Alone 2, Lost in New York apart. And he's like, you seen this shit? Talking about Home Alone, and all I could think of like doing the same thing was because I don't have any other way to explain what I'm even talking about. So I just want to walk up to people that know about NFTs and just be like, you seen this shit? You seen this NFTs hosting a podcast shit? And just hope they know what I'm talking about.
Right.
Because his joke is like, you seen this Home Alone 2 shit? Lost in New York. It's a grant system, motherfucker. And talking about like the numbers are all like, where you want to go? 35th and 7th or whatever. He's like 12 up and over, 2 over, you simple bitch.
That's pretty funny. Funny.
But that's all I can think about, is because I heard that commercial like 3 or 4 times, and every time I was like, this just confuses me more. I thought I was starting to get a little bit of a grasp on what an NFT was. And then they're like, your favorite NFTs host podcasts now. And it was just like, that doesn't.
You're like,
compute.
Nope. What
I don't.
Does not compute. What is that NFT? Just an AI? Like, okay, it doesn't make any sense. Yes.
Yeah.
No, it doesn't.
This week on Audible, your favorite comic book reads itself.
Right.
What did you say? Like, not a narrator? No. The comic book does all the work.
What?
I'm so lost. And they're just like, yeah.
Yes, you are.
Money.
You should buy it.
Buy it. It's collectible.
So, yeah, to the comic, back to the comic book thing, it's funny because the thing is, I just was watching Perfect the Craft, I think is what it's called. There's this brand of whiskey that does a series of like perfecting the craft, is I think that's what it's called. And Anthony Bourdain did the first season, and then Questlove did seasons 2 and 3. And they just get these people who are like masters in what they do.
Yeah.
And so I just had finished. I was like, oh yeah, I got to go back to that because I know Quest is doing the second season. So I got to go back and I got to finish the Anthony one. I think I got like 2 or 3 seasons. So I just Googled him, and then all of a sudden he came up on Rogan, and I was like, oh yeah, him and Rogan seem like they're pretty good buds, right? And so I started looking, and I'm like, huh, they didn't really do any podcasts together. And I clicked on the first one. Yeah. It's old. It's pretty fucking old. And Anthony Bourdain goes, yeah, I don't know. I'm working on a few things. Like, I don't know. What do you want me to? Okay, go to this show, which that show was canceled way already. Like, when I'm listening to this, that show was long canceled, and another show had already come in and replaced it and been canceled. And, Anthony's death has already happened. So it was way weird to listen to.
Yeah.
It was super like time travel. And he goes, yeah, we're working on a comic book, like a super dark graphic, like back in the day, violent stuff, like kind of the shit that I grew up on, like the stuff you weren't supposed to read, not the Marvel stuff, the other stuff.
Sure.
He's like, I got a guy, we're working on a thing, should be out soon. And I'm like, well, that fucker's obviously out now.
Right.
So I look it up, and Get Euro is what it's called. Get Jiro. And it's a chef. Okay. It's like a chef graphic novel where like the chefs have power. Like the chefs are almost gangs in a way.
Oh.
And Euro is like an outlier. And yeah, dude. I found a physical copy at our local bookstore. And I bought that son bitch. That's so I was super pumped. And it's super violent. Like there's like a dude getting his head chopped off and blood and shit.
Nice.
And it was super sick. And so it kind of just like, I went from The Last of Us to Get Euro. And I was like, I think I'm into this.
Yeah. Dude, that's dope. Like some of that stuff is violent for sure. I remember that shit. When I was younger, my parents had a camper, like a permanent camper for the summer at a campground.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
It
sick.
would just sit. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So we would go up there, and the campground had like the main office, and the office had it was like a commons area where there's like a pool table and a couple of arcade games.
Oh yeah, for sure.
And then they had like a little store, and then like Sundays it'd be rainy and you had nothing else to do, and you walk up there and they'd have like comic books.
No shit.
And and like I wasn't like a big comic book guy, but every once in a while I get them. And there's this one where it's like a Batman, but the Batman has like a different kind of like mask on, and he looks like a ninja. And I was all about ninjas. Like this is when Mortal Kombat came out.
Oh yeah.
So it's like that time. So I'm like, hell yeah. And I bring that back. And like page 2, this guy is like shown jumping up, and he's like full force, like legs cocked back so knees are coming down, driving into this dude's chest, and it's just like blood, like two like double holy knees to the chest, like shit. Just murdered a man. And I'm like, holy shit, dude. What? I did not see this being this hardcore.
Wow.
Yeah, and it's a crazy comic book, and I'm like, damn, I had no idea comic books were this hardcore.
Yeah,
and I never.
That must be a crazy opener. Like, I love that you found that as a kid, because, like, again, I'm not a comic book. Like, I just am now in my adulthood, completing my like nerd trifecta, as I call it, and getting into comics. I had no idea. Like, I love that you found that as a kid.
Yeah, on accident too. It's just like a bored, rainy day.
Yeah,
and I'm like I'm not a huge Batman fan, but this is like a different Batman ninja guy. So I like open it up, and I'm like, holy shit, this ninja's legit. He just straight murdered that dude. Yeah, and that was back in the time of like Mortal Kombat, where you're like getting the cheat codes to just watch the fatalities.
Yeah, for sure.
Get to that video where it's like just over and over and over, just watching all the deaths. And then you're just like, they're like, that video game's so violent, why don't you go read a comic book? And I'm like, okay. And I'm like, oh shit,
page 2 motherfucker got burnt.
Just straight, oh my god, that one's more realistic than these other things too. Those other ones are easily discernible as fake. Like, there's no way that chick just took down her mask and bit that dude's face off. That didn't really happen. But
this guy just like leapt in the air and landed on someone's chest and collapsed his
double knees into the chest. Like, looking at that was like, that's a real move. That would suck. I believe this.
Oh man, that's crazy. You don't remember what it is though? I'm curious. Like,
no, for real, it was a Batman. It was like, but it was like a special, different. It was a Batman comic, but he had like slightly different mask, and he was like a ninja.
Yes. I can't think of it right now, which is proof to anybody who's listening. Like, seriously, leave it in the comments. There is an actual Batman that is a killer that does kill, because the Batman does not.
Oh.
And so there's like a counterpart. His name is like Red Hood or something like that.
And, dude, I don't know this.
And he's like the Deadpool of Wolverine. He's like Wolverine's Deadpool. You know what I'm saying?
Okay. Yeah, that
because
makes
Wolverine
sense.
is an X-Man, and like they don't really kill, which I don't understand. How does Wolverine not kill anybody? He has to, right? He's got fucking claws in his hand. But he's nowhere near Deadpool, because Deadpool's the M-rated.
Have you seen Logan?
No.
Logan is
That's
the movie.
R-rated though, ain't it?
That one's hardcore.
Yeah.
He murders people like a motherfucker in that movie.
Okay. So maybe I'm wrong with X-Men then. Maybe murder does happen, and we just were watching the cartoons that were where it wasn't allowed.
Oh, I think a lot of stuff too, when you look back on it, you're like, oh, a lot of people died. Like a lot.
Right.
It's people dying left and right, and you just don't think anything of it. Like even just the cars. It's a car chase, and then there's an explosion. You don't think anything of it, but then, like when you're a kid, but then you think about it, and you're like, yeah, there was 4 people in that car. That explosion, like they all died for sure. Those those people are all dead.
That kind of explosion and fire.
It's just I just tried to Google it, and like my attempt at Googling did not pull it up.
No,
when I
we can figure it out after this.
I was like Ninja Batman, and there's like there's a couple Ninja Turtles Batman crossovers.
Right. Yeah, of course there was.
So I'm like, oh damn, yeah, no, I gotta be way more specific. I still have it.
Oh, because you bought it. You bought it from the store. It wasn't like a rental that was sitting next to the pool table.
Right. No, it was just a comic book on it. They had some like Archie comics and some other, and I was just
and you were like, I'm gonna pick that fucking weird looking Batman.
Yeah, I'm going with that weird looking Batman. I'm not reading Archie.
Yeah, dude.
That's not my jam.
Okay. Well, let's save that for after the podcast. Let's go ahead and wrap this shit up. I know one thing that I didn't get to in the beginning as I wrap things up here is the reviews. Please go over to, I think, Spotify in the app. Go over to iTunes. Leave us a review, please. It helps out a lot. It definitely has an effect on the algorithm.
For sure. Definitely does.
Yeah, big time. Also, don't forget, if you're listening to this on podcast, we're over on Real AF TV. We're at Real AF TV. Remember, Real Like Fish and Real on YouTube. So you can find us that way, youtube.com/at Real AF TV. That is a real thing that they started to do over there on YouTube. Super dope. Contact us. We like to talk to you back and forth.
Yes.
There is a back and forth at realaf.tv/contact. Remember, Real Like Fish and Real with 2 E's in the middle. Tim?
Yeah.
What did I miss? Socials.
Patreon. Do you say Patreon?
Patreon. Yep. No, thank you. Yep.
We got Patreon.
We are on Patreon. That's for sure. I know there's a lot of video game stuff going on. You want us to do an extra Patreon podcast that's just about video game stuff? Shit, we'll do it. Go over to Patreon, give $1.
I'll do that.
DM us. How about that? There's a call out. Good till the end of February.
You want a video game section? I'll do that every podcast. I do that.
Yeah, dude.
I gotta say too, like what I've been listening to on Audible, if anybody's listening for a good listen, both of David Goggins' books and Tom Segura's book.
Oh, I've listened to Tom has a book. I didn't even know that.
Yeah, Tom's book is good. Goggins' books are better, but Goggins' books are better because they're just insanity. That man is a fucking animal. It's ridiculous what that man does.
Really?
Dude.
That's crazy.
I can't even. It's this man.
Okay. I'll look it up. And that's
I'm just
something else.